In the 1920s, a Russian newspaper reporter named Solomon Shereshevsky walked into the office of the psychologist Alexander Luria. Over the next 30 years, Luria tested his memory again and again and could not find an upper bound. Shereshevsky remembered everything. But it came at a real cost. He had intense synesthesia. Every word triggered a cascade of sensory associations he couldn't shut off. He couldn't follow normal conversations, couldn't grasp metaphors. Remembering and forgetting seem like opposites, but Shereshevsky's case suggests they're two sides of the same coin. Without the ability to forget, even extraordinary memory becomes a burden. Your AI has what looks like the opposite problem. It forgets things you just told it. But the deeper you look at how these systems actually work, the more this story starts to rhyme. When you chat with an LLM, the model has no memory between turns. None. Every time you hit send, the entire conversation, your messages, its replies, everything gets sent to the model again from scratch. It reads the whole history, writes a reply, and forgets. Next turn, same thing. Full replay. The context window is the size limit on that replay. And those windows have gotten enormous. When ChatGPT launched in late 2022, the model behind it had a 4,000 token window, a few pages of text. Today, Claude does 1 million tokens. Gemini does 2 million, 1,000 times bigger, roughly. Looks like the problem should be solved. Well, 2 reasons it's not that simple. First, cost. When the model reads context, every token checks against every other token. The longer the context, the compute doesn't just grow, it grows with the square of the length. There are engineering and model tricks that have made million-token windows practical, but the fundamental cost is still there. The window can't just grow forever. Second, even within the window you already have, filling it up makes the model worse. If you've used an AI for a long session, you've felt this. It's like watching someone burn the midnight oil. Less sharp, less reliable. It starts missing things that were obvious an hour ago. Researchers call this context rot. Models get measurably worse as context grows, well before hitting any limit. More context means more noise. The stuff that actually matters gets buried under everything else. So the window can't grow indefinitely, and even the space you have degrades as you fill it. Every product has to manage this, and the approaches vary. Some cap the window and drop old messages silently, simple truncation. Some bet on making the window so large you'll never fill it. Some summarize earlier messages to make room. For most chatbot products, what happens under the hood is a black box. Users just notice when the AI starts forgetting. That approach, summarizing earlier messages to make room, is what the industry calls compaction. When context fills up, the system asks the model to summarize the conversation, progress so far, key decisions, what's left to do, then replaces the old history with that summary plus recent messages. Think of it like writing notes in your diary before bed, so you can pick up fresh the next morning. In practice, it has real problems. The summary relies on the AI knowing what's important, but what matters often depends on what you're going to do next, which even the user might not fully know. The model guesses, and sometimes it guesses wrong. It drops a constraint or a detail that turns out to be load-bearing 3 steps later. Then there's the control problem. You can let users decide when to compact, but that's a burden. It's like driving a manual when most people just want the thing to work. Or you make it automatic. But then the system fires whenever the token count hits a threshold, regardless of whether the AI is in the middle of something. And when it fires at the wrong moment, mid-task with a lot of moving pieces, that's when things really go sideways. On top of that, full compaction is slow. The model has to read and summarize the entire conversation before it can continue. That can take a minute or 2. All of this hits hardest when the AI is using tools, reading files, running code, browsing the web, because tool outputs flood the context far faster than normal conversation. A top post on the Claude Code subreddit is titled "Disable Auto Compact." Victor Talin put it bluntly, Opus will completely forget what its goal was and focus on something else, thinking that's its goal. This is the sharpest edge in AI tooling right now. So you'd think, why not do something smarter? Rewrite the context continuously, keep only what matters, reorganize on the fly. But there's an optimization that makes that really expensive. It's called prefix caching. Every turn, the full conversation gets sent to the model again. But if the beginning hasn't changed since last turn, the GPU skips recomputing it. It reuses what it already calculated. That's what makes long conversations feel responsive. The moment you rewrite the context, even a little, that cache breaks. The GPU starts over. So the clever approaches, continuous rewriting, real-time reorganization, all pay a steep cost in latency and compute every time they touch the context. That's a big reason most systems still default to the blunt approach, full compaction at a threshold, infrequently. It's lossy, but at least it only breaks the cache once. There are people trying to thread the needle. One insight is that not all context is equal. A huge tool output from 10 turns ago is much safer to drop than a one-line instruction from the user. So some systems triage, evicting the bulkiest and stalest content first. Another idea is timing. If the cache has already expired because the user has been idle, that's the cheapest moment to rewrite context. Some systems maintain running notes throughout a session, a structured summary that stays current turn by turn, so when compaction is needed, the summary's already there without an extra model call. None of it works well enough yet. This is a genuinely unsolved problem, and one of the most active areas in AI infrastructure right now. All of this is what's called context management. There's also a parallel trend, pushing memory out of the context entirely, into external stores the agent pulls from on demand. That's a whole other episode. Context windows will keep growing. Models will keep getting better at using them, but the need to forget, to compress, to prune, to let things go, that's not going away. After all, without proper forgetting, you never wake up to a fresh day.